All right. We are looking good right now. This is Richie Contardesi coming to you live from beautiful and sunny Las Vegas, Nevada, with another episode of SalesPreneur. And today's actually a really exciting one. It's one that I've been wanting to do. And if you have any questions, comments, definitely make sure to comment below. And we'll get to those at the end, just like yesterday. We had a great day yesterday. I felt really good about it. I thought we got a lot done. Really excited to have the opportunity to be here and do this while I'm on this somewhat of maternity leave. We'll give a minute here to see who else will be joining, and then we'll get right into it. I mean, this is a topic that I think is super important and one that most people have a lot of trouble making. And I've been really blessed, I have to say, with kind of having in the back of my mind subconsciously the ability to do this for the most part. And I think a lot of it has to do with fear and other things that we'll talk through. And so today I'm gonna really dive in and provide a system that I've used for quite some time. And I started out doing it subconsciously. And then as I've gotten in my life into bigger decisions that have needed to be made, I've kind of went ahead and systemized this to make sure I follow it as fear gets bigger because the decisions get bigger. But I think in sales and in entrepreneurship, we are faced with big decisions every single day. We're faced with really big decisions and even some of the smaller decisions. And so we'll talk about what most people do, how they react to these decisions, and then a formula on how to handle these decisions. Because even if even if we're reacting to them and we're not handling them properly, obviously that's a problem. So Miranda, what is up? Good morning. I think you're going to like this one, Miranda. I'm excited about it. So here we go. And I like starting kind of with the big picture, the big issue that kind of most people have with making a decision. The biggest issue is that most people actually don't ever make decisions. And I read this in a book. They don't make decisions. What they do is they make suggestions. And the reason that people do that is because they don't want to take responsibility if things don't go the way that the decision, if it doesn't turn out well, then they made a suggestion and not a decision on it. And the problem is that most people make suggestions. So if you stand up and make a decision, number one, you're going to have more power. And number two, the other people that are mad at you for not making or for making the bad decision couldn't make a decision themselves, right? So we'll talk through that. So there are people that make decisions and they base these decisions and the things that they do based on the circumstances, or they let other people make the decisions for them. And so there's really three answers when we're making a decision: yes, no, and there's one other answer, and I'm going to get to that at the end because it's what most people do. So, and I think it's actually funny, but most people procrastinate when it comes to making big decisions out of fear. It's 100%. They procrastinate making big decisions out of fear. They let circumstances, they let other people make the decisions for them, and then they just say it's fate. They say it's fate. This is what was supposed to happen. That's completely wrong. That happened because you didn't have the courage to make that decision. So there's really two massive decisions in your life that make the biggest impact on the outcome of your life and where you are right now. Like, there's two decisions in your life. So if you thought about two things, big decisions that you've made that have made the biggest impact on your life, there's really two. So think about that for a second. I'll give you an example. So some of you know my story, some of you don't know my story, but for those of you that don't, I was at Jacksonville University to play college football. My dream was to play big-time college, and Jacksonville wasn't big-time college. It wasn't even a scholarship college. And at the end of the year, my first year at Jacksonville, I actually got cut. and from not even a good school. And at the end of the season, this coach that I got cut from and that I was fired, or that was fired, a new coach came in and he says to me, he goes, Richie, we don't think you're a good fit for our program. He basically just saw the way that I looked and he was like, you're not going to work. You're not going to be a fit. And that was like a huge decision point. Like that was a massive decision point. It's like, quit or say, hey, you know what? I'm going to follow my passion. I'm going to follow my dream. This is what I really want. And I'm going to go after it like my life depends on it. And I ended up making that decision. And obviously it's had a massive impact on my life. So that's an example of in your life having those two big decisions that are going to make the biggest difference in your life. So think about that for a second. So as you think about these decisions, I'm going to share with you a simple 3-step process that you can use to make big decisions, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in sales, wherever you are. In this is in general. And what I've done is I've taken these big decisions that I've made that have turned out really well. And I basically reverse engineered how I made those decisions. And that's what I'm providing right now. So the first thing is when making a decision, obviously you want to make it as fast as possible, like as quickly as possible. Keep that in mind. But I will say the first step is to put a date on the calendar. So if it's a really big decision, like maybe it's we need to move locations or move jobs or start a business. If it's start a business, you should do that immediately. But if it's a really big decision, then put a date on or a time on the calendar. So if it's 9 a.m. Pacific time or 9:07 a.m. Pacific time like it is right now, you could say by 11 a.m. I'm going to have this decision. Or by Friday at 5 p.m. I will have this decision made. But you've got to put a date on the calendar. It's the law of attraction. It's like a goal. You got to have a date on the calendar. I want to preface that with this. Decisions should be based and made instinctually. So if you're just putting a date on the calendar to put the decision off, then you're defeating the whole purpose, right? So if your date on the calendar should be like really pressing and pushing and still allowing you to make the decision instinctually. So the second one is you want to collect all the data, all the information that you need to make this decision, especially if it's a really big decision, pros and cons list, whatever that looks like for you. You've got to put together the actual data and information to make that decision, especially if it's a big investment decision. So with salespeople, a lot of people they're like, oh, well, here's the process I'm going to use, or wait, here's another process that I can use, or here's another process that I can use. And then there's too many freaking options. So as you put together your data, your pros and cons list, your options, you want to make sure to narrow this down as small as possible, 2-3 options maximum, because if you have too much information, too much data, you're gonna go berserk. You're gonna go crazy. And so that's the first 2 steps: date, information. The third one is make the damn decision. And I'm going to talk through what the 3 ways that people make decisions, or the 3 types of decisions that people make, and what the most is. So there's really either 2, but there's 3 because this is how people are. There's yes, there's no, and then there's retreat. Okay. And I actually learned this from an amazing speaker in a presentation. And I was like, man, I'm actually, there's sometimes I totally retreat. I look at the time at Jacksonville, I didn't retreat. The second I found out, I got in my car and I was like, I'm playing Division 1. And I started making phone calls and I made a spreadsheet. Like, I didn't retreat. But as we get older, as we develop different fears and we develop different things in our life, we learn to do this thing called retreat when it comes to answers. And it's just it's part of who it becomes who we are, and it's just something we can't avoid. So we retreat out of fear of failure, out of fear of what people think, that's the biggest one when it comes to decision, is fear of what people think. People are going to judge us for making the wrong decision, or people on our team are going to say, hey, you blew it for everybody because you made the wrong decision. That's really one of the biggest fear. You have the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure. But when it comes to decisions, it's the fear of what other people think that really holds you back. And the bottom line is this. If they were able to make the decision themselves, which they're probably not, they can't provide you suggestions. You make the decision and be mad at you. That's absolutely ridiculous. But that's just what people do. But if we know in our mind that's absolutely ridiculous, then we won't allow it to bother us. The other thing is you can't let other people dictate your future. And so what a lot of people do is they procrastinate or they put off decisions and then allow their circumstances or allow other people to make the decisions for them, dictate their future. No, like you take control of your life. You make the decisions because it's your life. It's your outcome. Stop allowing fate, as what people say, or your circumstances or what other people think or other people making the decision for you because you can't make it. Control your life. It's absolutely insane. And that's what so many people do by retreating. You're only going to ever make money when you say yes too. I love this when it comes to like, this is an investing thing. When I saw this is like, you never make money investing when you say no. And you never make money when investing when you say, when you retreat. You only make money in investing when you say yes. You can also lose money. Don't get me wrong when you say yes, but you can only make money, when you say yes. And like, here's the thing. If you say yes, and it works out, it's going to be so amazing for you. Like it's literally going to be so amazing for you. You're going to be so happy that you did it. And if it doesn't work out, you know what? At least you had the courage to make the decision. Like at least you had the courage to make the decision. And you know what? You'll learn from it. You'll get better and you'll make a better decision the next time. The message that I want to share here today is make a decision. Don't retreat. If you're going to make it, it's got to be yes or no. Do not live your life out of fear. Do not live your life retreating because this is what everybody does. They retreat and they allow other people, they allow their circumstances, they allow fear to literally control their life and the decisions that they make. And that's really what I have for today. I wanted to keep it really simple. I think the formula is really easy and the message is don't retreat. The message is if you're going to make a decision, make it quickly, allow your instincts to be involved, gather the information, and literally say yes or no. And that's all that I have. I just want to see here if I have in my notes anything else. I do not. Let's come up here to the comments. Miranda, what is up? Good morning. Madeline, good morning. I'm terrible with procrastination. I know, it's like, it literally, it's something that like, this is something everybody, I don't care how well you're doing, how good things are going. It's a daily battle, procrastination. And again, the reason people procrastinate is because of fear of failure. Like I really believe that is one of the strongest reasons people procrastinate is because they're so worried about failing. They're so worried about getting it wrong. So we push things off, we retreat, and then 2 years later, we're still haven't done anything yet, right? So Madeline, girl, me too. Sarah Thomas, same. Emily, good morning. Maybe it's a bad habit for me. Yeah, it literally like we're at a good point. Like it's like it's one of those things where it's really like a habit that we form over time. But it's if we're conscious of it, legitimately conscious of it. Like I try to every day, like when I had like this morning, last night actually, I had a really big decision that I had to make, and it was 9 p.m. and I had to have it done last night. I could have pushed it off for sure, but I was sitting there and I was like, wait, hold on. I've got to make a decision. Like I've got to decide what I'm going to do. And the reason I was wanting to procrastinate was because what I was thinking, what if this doesn't work out? What will my team think of me? And I'm thinking to myself, it doesn't matter. I have to make a decision. I'm going to do this because I feel that this is best, and I'm going to go all in with this decision. Like, I'm going to go all in with this decision. And that's like literally the only way you can do it. And you have to go all in with the decision. And here's the other big thing. If it doesn't work out, you have to believe enough that you're going to figure it out, whatever is the next step. Like, if this big decision I had to make yesterday, which is really who we're going to be contacting moving forward, it's a big decision. We've got a whole process and a system and people in place, and everybody's got to change everything up. If it doesn't work out, you know what? That it didn't work out, and and I trust and believe enough that I'm going to figure it out and figure out why and figure out the next step of plan. And that's what we have to do. And a lot of people say, believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. But nobody really knows what that means. In my opinion, believing in yourself means that you truly believe that if things don't go the way that they're supposed to go, that you're going to figure it out. Like, you are just going to figure it out. And surround yourself with the right people, right? Yeah, so it really is. Absolutely. So that was a quick one today. Thursdays are always interesting day. I know yesterday we had a big day. Today was a little lighter. Miranda, I know you've been here. We got Emily. I don't have any questions here. I know this was a simple one. Tomorrow I have it's kind of a mixture of mindset and some content, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I'll get that rolling tomorrow. Again, DM me if you have any questions. I'll add that into my list that I have here of things to talk about. If not, I will see you all tomorrow at 9 a.m.